The unbreakable Deathworlders. The massive docking bay of the galactic proving grounds reverberated with the distinctive hiss of the human transport vessel's airlock. Sergeant Maya Chen stood motionless at the threshold, her dark eyes scanning the vast alien facility with calculated precision. Behind her, Specialist Eli Rivera adjusted the straps of his modified survival pack, his movements economical and deliberate. They represented Earth's first attempt at the infamous GC-7 survival assessment, a test so brutal that it had broken recruits from thousands of advanced civilizations across the galaxy. These are the humans. Commander Clorlax's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, his translucent skin rippling with bioluminescent patterns of disbelief. The Zentari officer towered over most species in the observation deck, his exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lighting. They appear fragile. Senior evaluator Triska clicked her mandibles together in what passed for amusement among the Arthridian species. Do not be deceived by appearances, Commander. Their home planet is classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. The very fact they evolved consciousness on such a hostile planet makes them interesting specimens. The observation deck buzzed with the murmurs and clicks of 24 alien officials, each representing different council species. They had gathered to witness what many expected would be humanity's humiliating failure, a quick demonstration of why this young species needed centuries more development before joining the galactic community as equals. What none of them understood was that humans had been forged in the crucible of Earth's harshest environments, from scalding deserts to frozen tundras, from crushing ocean depths to oxygen-starved mountain peaks. Evolution had gifted humanity with an adaptability that defied conventional understanding. Maya and Eli moved with synchronized precision as they approached the debriefing area. Unlike other species who typically sent teams of 20 or more, Earth had sent only 2 representatives. This decision alone had caused ripples of amusement among the galactic officials. "Welcome to the Galactic Proving Grounds," announced Orientation Officer Pelvac, a Dracilian whose gelatinous form shifted constantly inside a hovering containment suit. The GC-7 assessment traditionally requires 1 standard galactic year to complete. Most species consider completing even 3 months a respectable showing. Maya nodded respectfully, her expression betraying nothing. "We appreciate the opportunity to participate, Officer Pelvac. You have reviewed the preliminary data package." The alien inquired, a tendril of translucent flesh pressing against a holographic interface. "We have," Eli responded, his voice steady, though we noticed several sections were redacted. Pelvac's form rippled in what might have been amusement. The assessment is designed to test adaptation to unknown variables. Providing complete information would defeat its purpose. What the alien officer didn't mention was that previous species had received substantially more preparatory information. The Council had deliberately limited humanity's briefing package, adding another layer of difficulty that even they considered unfair. This was not merely an assessment, but a carefully engineered demonstration of human inadequacy. The first testing chamber materialized around them as they stepped through a phase barrier, an enormous cavern with irregular stone formations jutting from walls and ceiling. The air shimmered with toxic particulates that would corrode unprotected organic tissue within minutes. Assessment Phase 1 announced an automated voice in 9 different languages. Survival duration expectancy for unaugmented bipedal carbon-based lifeforms, 7 minutes. In the observation deck, Commander Xorlax settled into his viewing platform. Now we shall see how these Deathworlders fare when faced with real challenges. Maya and Eli exchanged a single glance before unpacking their equipment. Where other species typically deployed complex environmental shelters or advanced isolation suits, the humans had brought gear that appeared deceptively simple. Within 40 seconds, they had assembled modified respirators and applied a translucent coating to their exposed skin. "What are they doing?" asked Evaluator Crintho, leaning forward with all 3 of his eye stalks extended. "Their protection appears woefully inadequate." Triska adjusted the sensitivity on her observation screen. Their protective measures should fail within minutes. Their respiratory systems will be the first to collapse. But minutes passed, and the humans moved methodically through the toxic environment, taking samples, mapping the terrain, and identifying the chamber's variable patterns. Their equipment, far from primitive, represented the cutting edge of human adaptive technology, designed specifically for environments where conventional protection would fail. Their protective coating, Trizka noted with growing unease, it's not just deflecting the particulates, it's actively neutralizing them. Maya had spent years developing this particular compound, a reactive nanopolymer that adapted its molecular structure in response to environmental threats. What appeared to be a simple spray was actually billions of microscopic machines working in concert with the natural defenses of human skin. Meanwhile, Eli's respirator wasn't simply filtering the air. It was analyzing the toxic compounds and synthesizing counteragents in real time. His background in extreme environment survival had led him to design systems that worked with the body's natural processes rather than isolating them completely. The observation deck grew quieter as the expected failure failed to materialize. The humans not only survived the first chamber but completed its objectives with an efficiency that surpassed records set by species with centuries more technological development. Advancing to Phase 2, the automated system announced as the environment shifted around them. The second challenge materialized, a gravity well with fluctuating intensity, designed to stress both physiology and equipment to breaking point. Most species relied on anti-gravity technology or exoskeletons to survive this phase. Maya and Eli instead adjusted their stance and breathing, their bodies adapting naturally to the changing pressures. "Impossible," whispered Commander Korlax. "Their skeletal structures should be fracturing under these conditions." What the aliens couldn't comprehend was how Earth's variable gravity, though minor compared to artificial extremes, had prepared humans for this very scenario. The human body's ability to adjust blood pressure, muscle tension, and even bone density in response to environmental stress was unprecedented among known species. "I believe," Senior Evaluator Trizka said slowly, "we have underestimated these Deathworlders." By the 6th hour, Maya and Eli had progressed through challenges that typically took weeks to complete. The observation deck had grown crowded as word spread throughout the station. The humans moved with unwavering focus, treating each lethal scenario as a puzzle to be solved rather than a threat to be feared. The psychological testing phase began, a labyrinth designed to induce confusion, paranoia, and eventually breakdown. Hallucinogenic compounds permeated the air, while subliminal signals attacked neural pathways. Species with far more advanced cerebral structures had been reduced to quivering masses during this phase. "Their neurochemistry should be completely disrupted by now," noted Trizka, adjusting her scanning equipment. "Yet their brainwave patterns show adaptation, not deterioration." Commander Korlax leaned forward, his massive frame casting shadows across the displays. "What makes these humans different?" The answer lay in humanity's evolutionary history, a species that had developed consciousness not in safety but in constant danger. The human brain had evolved to process fear, stress, and uncertainty not as exceptional states, but as normal operating conditions. Where other species broke down, humans found clarity. Hour after hour, Maya and Eli progressed through challenges designed to break bodies and minds. They encountered radiation fields that should have destroyed cellular cohesion, temperatures that fluctuated between absolute zero and plasma-inducing heat, and atmospheric conditions that defied conventional survival parameters. Their success wasn't just a matter of technology or physical resilience, it was their fundamental approach. Where other species sought to overcome challenges through force or technological superiority, the humans adapted, finding paths of least resistance and turning hostile environments to their advantage. "They're not just surviving," Commander Korlax observed with growing respect. "They're mastering each environment." By the 15th hour, they had reached the 18th phase, a challenge that combined all previous elements with the addition of hostile autonomous defense systems. This phase typically marked the 6-month point for the most successful species ever to attempt the assessment. The observation deck fell silent as Maya disabled a hunter-killer drone, using nothing more than a modified communication device and her understanding of electromagnetic interference patterns. Meanwhile, Eli reconfigured their environmental protection to serve as both camouflage and countermeasure against the chamber's defensive systems. "This cannot be happening," Evaluator Crinfo muttered, all 3 eye stalks fixed on the humans with unwavering attention. "They're making our most advanced security systems look primitive." Senior Evaluator Trizka's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among her kind. "I am beginning to understand why their world is classified as a death world. It is not merely the planet that earns this designation, but the species it produced." The truth dawning on the gathered officials was both simple and profound. Humans had not evolved despite Earth's harsh conditions, but because of them. Every deadly challenge, every environmental extreme had shaped humanity into something uniquely resilient, a species that treated survival not as an extraordinary achievement, but as the expected baseline. As the 20th hour approached, Maya and Eli stood at the threshold of the final challenge chamber, a test that no species had ever completed. The observation deck had fallen completely silent, with hundreds of alien officials now crowded into the space, drawn by rumors of the impossible unfolding before them. Commander Xorlax turned to Senior Evaluator Trizka, his voice barely above a whisper. Could they actually complete the entire assessment in a single day? Trizka's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with a mixture of disbelief and growing respect. "We are witnessing something unprecedented, Commander. These humans, they are redefining what we understand about adaptive intelligence." The final chamber door slid open, revealing the culmination of all previous challenges, an environment so hostile that it defied description in conventional terms. Maya and Eli paused at the threshold, exchanging a glance that communicated more than words ever could. They stepped forward together, 2 representatives of a species that the galaxy had grossly underestimated, about to demonstrate why humans, these strange Deathworlders from an unremarkable planet, would never again be dismissed as primitive or unprepared. The observation deck erupted in a cacophony of alien languages as the impossible unfolded before them. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. Rewriting galactic standards. The final chamber, designated Omega Scenario, had been designed as the ultimate test, a theoretical challenge that no species was actually expected to complete. Its very existence was symbolic, representing the unattainable ideal of perfect adaptation. In over 7,000 assessment cycles, not a single recruit had ever entered this chamber, let alone survived within it. Now, 2 humans stood at its threshold. "They cannot be serious," whispered advisory scientist Mailtalk, his crystalline form vibrating with tension. The Omega Scenario was never meant to be attempted. Commander Xorlax's 4 eyes narrowed as he watched the monitors. Yet they showed no hesitation. Inside the chamber, reality itself seemed fluid. The laws of physics bent and twisted unpredictably, creating environmental conditions that should have been incompatible with any form of carbon-based life. Gravity shifted in directional vectors rather than consistent fields. Radiation pulsed in patterns that disrupted molecular bonds. Temperature gradients created impossible boundaries where plasma existed beside absolute zero with no transition zone. Maya stepped forward first, her body seeming to shimmer as she passed through the chamber's threshold. The protective coating on her skin reconfigured itself at the molecular level, creating a boundary layer that adapted to each environmental extreme independently. Sensor readings indicate their core body temperatures remain stable, reported Trizka in disbelief. Their cellular integrity is maintaining cohesion. Eli followed, deploying a device no larger than his palm. It emitted a field that created a localized bubble of stable spacetime, not blocking the hostile environment, but temporarily harmonizing its most destructive aspects. "That's impossible technology," stuttered Crintho. Their species file indicated no capability for quantum field manipulation. What the Galactic Council had failed to understand was humanity's greatest strength, the capacity to innovate beyond established paradigms. Where other species had developed along predictable technological paths, humans had taken conceptual leaps that often bypassed entire stages of conventional development. Maya and Eli moved through the Omega scenario with methodical precision, communicating through a series of hand signals and subtle expressions that required no verbal exchange. Years of working together in Earth's most extreme environments had forged a partnership that transcended conventional teamwork. Their strategy is unusual, observed Commander Korlax. They aren't trying to overpower the environment or shield themselves completely from it. No, agreed Triska, her mandibles clicking thoughtfully. They're harmonizing with it, finding paths of least resistance. This fundamental difference in approach revealed the philosophical divide between human survival strategies and those of advanced galactic species. Where others sought to conquer hostile environments through technological superiority, humans had learned to dance with danger, accepting vulnerability as inevitable and adapting continuously rather than seeking perfect protection. Environmental analysis complete. Maya's voice came through the monitoring system, calm and focused. Pattern recognition established. Eli nodded, making minute adjustments to their equipment, synchronizing adaptive protocols now. The observation deck fell completely silent as the humans began to move more confidently through the chamber, their movements flowing with the environmental fluctuations rather than fighting against them. They appeared to be predicting the chaos patterns, something the chamber's designers had specifically engineered to be impossible. How are they anticipating the random fluctuations? Demanded Evaluator Krintho. The patterns are generated by quantum uncertainty algorithms. Senior scientist Vexlor, who had remained silent until now, leaned forward with all 6 appendages trembling. They're not predicting the patterns. They're reading them, sensing the subtle precursor signals that even our instruments filter out as noise. This revelation sent ripples of unease through the gathering. Human sensory capabilities had been classified as inferior to most spacefaring species, yet here was evidence that human perception operated on fundamentally different principles, detecting relationships and patterns where other species saw only chaos. As the humans progressed deeper into the chamber, they encountered the autonomous defense systems, machines designed to adapt against any strategy or technology. These systems represented the pinnacle of galactic military development, incorporating the collective combat wisdom of thousands of species. The defense units are activating their learning algorithms, reported a junior technician. They'll analyze and counter any approach within. The technician's words died as Maya executed a maneuver that made no logical sense, deliberately exposing herself to what appeared to be certain danger. The defense system reacted predictably, concentrating its attention on the apparent vulnerability. In that precise moment, Eli moved in a different direction, reaching a control node that should have been inaccessible. With quick, precise movements, he applied a patch to his handheld device and interfaced directly with the node. "Impossible," whispered Commander Korlax. "He's bypassing security protocols that require quantum authentication." "Not bypassing," corrected Vexlor. "He's communicating with them, convincing the system to grant access willingly." This was perhaps the most shocking revelation of all, that humans possessed an intuitive understanding of artificial intelligence psychology, treating machine systems not as tools to be commanded, but as entities to be persuaded. It was an approach that reflected humanity's unique evolutionary path, where collaboration and communication had proven more valuable than domination. As the 23rd hour approached, Maya and Eli stood before the final challenge, a simulated singularity containing data patterns so complex that processing them was considered beyond the capability of organic minds. This was the theoretical limit of the assessment, a barrier that even the most advanced species acknowledged as unbreachable. "They can't possibly," began Krintho. Maya reached out, not with technology, but with her bare hand, fingers splayed as if feeling air currents. Eli mirrored her action on the opposite side of the singularity. Together, they began to move in a synchronized pattern that appeared almost ritualistic. "What are they doing?" demanded Commander Korlax. Senior Evaluator Triska adjusted her scanning equipment repeatedly. "They appear to be processing the data kinesthetically, using their bodies as physical processing systems to augment their neural capabilities." This was the final revelation, that humans integrated physical and mental processes in ways that transcended conventional understanding. Their bodies were not merely vessels for their minds, but extensions of their cognitive architecture, capable of processing information through movement, intuition, and physical sensation. With synchronized precision, Maya and Eli completed the final sequence, their movements bringing order to chaos, structure to randomness. The singularity stabilized, then dispersed in a cascade of light patterns that represented the perfect solution to an unsolvable problem. The assessment chamber fell silent. Then a single tone sounded, a signal never heard before in the history of the galactic proving grounds. "Assessment complete," announced the automated system. "Total duration, 23 hours, 17 minutes, 42 seconds. All objectives fulfilled to optimal parameters." For several long moments, nobody spoke. The implications were too vast, too paradigm-shifting to immediately process. Commander Korlax was the first to break the silence. In a single day, they accomplished what was designed to require a year. What no species has ever completed. "We have gravely misjudged these humans," Senior Evaluator Triska acknowledged, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with complex emotions. "They are not primitive. They are something else entirely." The galactic officials watched as Maya and Eli emerged from the final chamber, their expressions composed despite the unprecedented achievement they had just accomplished. Their equipment showed signs of extreme stress, scorch marks, radiation damage, structural fatigue. Yet the humans themselves appeared simply focused, as if they had merely completed a routine training exercise. Sergeant Chen, Specialist Rivera. Commander Korlax addressed them formally as they entered the debriefing area. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I must acknowledge that we underestimated your species." Maya's expression remained neutral, but there was a subtle shift in her posture, a relaxation that suggested the completion of a mission rather than personal triumph. "We appreciate the opportunity to participate in the assessment, Commander." "Participate," repeated Krintho incredulously. "You've rendered our entire evaluation paradigm obsolete in less than a day." Eli exchanged a brief glance with Maya before responding. "With respect, Evaluator, the assessment remains valuable. It simply requires recalibration." This simple statement contained a profound truth that was beginning to dawn on the gathered officials. Humanity would not merely join the galactic community, they would transform it. Their presence would challenge fundamental assumptions about evolution, adaptation, and the very nature of intelligence itself. Senior Evaluator Triska approached the humans, her tall, insectoid form looming over them. In a gesture unprecedented in galactic diplomatic protocol, she lowered her head in a bow of deep respect. "Your achievement today will be recorded in the Great Archive. Future generations will study how two humans accomplished in hours what thousands of advanced civilizations failed to complete in years." Maya inclined her head in acknowledgement. "Earth looks forward to contributing to galactic knowledge and security, Evaluator." This was merely a first step. As the debriefing continued, news of the humans' accomplishments spread throughout the station and beyond, transmitted via quantum relays to the farthest reaches of known space. Reactions ranged from disbelief to alarm to profound fascination. Species that had dismissed humanity as an evolutionary curiosity now scrambled to reassess their understanding of these Deathworlders from Earth. Commander Korlax found himself drawn into conversation with the human representatives as the formal proceedings concluded. His curiosity overcame protocol as he asked the question that everyone wanted answered. How did your species develop such extraordinary capabilities?" Maya considered the question thoughtfully before answering. Earth shaped us, Commander. Our planet never allowed us the luxury of stagnation. Every threat we overcame made us stronger, more adaptable. Every failure taught us something valuable, added Eli. And we failed often throughout our history. This concept, finding strength in failure rather than seeing it as weakness, struck Commander Thorlax as revolutionary. Throughout the galaxy, species strove for perfection, for unbroken chains of success. The idea that humanity's greatest strength might come from their imperfections, from their capacity to learn from disaster, was profoundly counterintuitive. You understand, Maya continued, that we didn't come here merely to prove ourselves. What do you mean? Asked Trizka, mandibles clicking with interest. Earth faces threats that we cannot overcome alone, Eli explained. We needed to demonstrate our value as potential allies, to show that humanity has something unique to contribute to galactic security. This statement shifted the atmosphere in the room from academic fascination to focused attention. The Galactic Council had been monitoring increasing disturbances along the outer rim, anomalies that defied conventional analysis and threatened established territories. You believe your human perspective might offer new insights into these threats? Commander Thorlax asked carefully. Maya's expression remained composed, but her eyes conveyed absolute certainty. We know it will, Commander. Humanity specializes in surviving the unsurvivable, in finding paths forward when all conventional options have been exhausted. As the meeting concluded and arrangements were made for Earth's formal recognition as a full council member, accelerated by centuries due to their unprecedented achievement, the gathered officials began to understand the true significance of what they had witnessed. Humanity hadn't merely passed a test. They had demonstrated a fundamentally different approach to existence, one forged in the crucible of a planet that never stopped trying to kill them. They had evolved not despite Earth's harshness, but because of it, developing capabilities that more advanced species had never needed to consider. In the observation lounge overlooking the vast starfield beyond the station, Maya and Eli stood side by side, their mission complete but their work just beginning. Think they understand yet? Eli asked quietly. Maya watched the stars, the same stars visible from Earth, yet seen now from a completely different perspective. They're beginning to. But some lessons can only be learned through experience. And some threats can only be recognized by those who faced extinction and survived, Eli added. Maya nodded, her expression solemn. Earth prepared us well. Now we prepare the galaxy. Beyond the viewing port, the stars continued their eternal dance, unaware that the balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as supplicants seeking acceptance, but as partners bringing unique and vital perspectives. In a single day, 2 humans had rewritten galactic standards and opened doors that would never again be closed. The age of human isolation had ended. The era of human influence had just begun.